Welcome to the Emperor's Palace Conference Center in Johannesburg, South Africa, where we're discussing local content and value addition in the mineral, oil and gas sectors of African countries. Now, a key concern about these countries is that citizens of resource-rich countries in Africa don't get a fair share of the large rents and benefits from the extraction of resources in those countries. So we're talking about generating opportunities in terms of employment and local procurement of goods and services, as well as participation, local participation in managing, in equity, in financing, and in adding value. And we're also discussing the findings of an 8-country study that has put together by the African Center for Economic Transformation, ACET, which is based in Accra, Ghana. And we have here today key people from those countries, the 8 countries, who can make transformation happen. And they are directors of mineral commissions, ministers of relevant ministries in the 8 countries, which are Burkina Faso, Ethiopia, Ghana, Mozambique, Namibia, Nigeria, South Africa, and Zambia.
Conversation that's very important for us here as Africans, because I have been asking the question personally as to when are these Africans going to come out of the emerging market framework? Are we permanently going to be emerging? Part of the answer to that question clearly lies with the resources that we have. So Africa's benefit in the value addition chain comes to nothing. We were trying at ACET to raise the level of intellectual debate and to rally a coalition for the transformation, economic transformation of Africa, and I'm quite certain that the conversations here will contribute most dearly.
Welcome to South Africa. I'm from Department of Energy. You're coming at a time where, even as South Africa, we're saying we faced with the challenges of poverty, we're still faced with the challenges of inequality, we're still faced with the challenges of unemployment. And you're coming at a time where South Africa are still battling with ensuring that there's inclusivity in all South Africans in the economy, wherein having pioneered economic transformation strategies, both at the mining sector and the petroleum and liquid fuels charter, we've not been able to make the significant inclusion that was envisaged. In terms of this local content that we'll be debating about today or engaging on, what sort of lessons can we learn? Policy makers in your countries within Africa can really make the difference that we can all be proud of, given that we are really endowed with resources, that as Africans we can make the change that we want. Thank you.
This is a very interesting study. When we started off, we really didn't think much of what we're going to uncover. As we go from country to country, we realize that the problems are of the same in kind, but they are different in degrees across countries. Every resource-rich country is trying to find better value, how best to use the resources to improve the life of citizens. The question of how to do it. Well, in the past, we have written mining resource laws and regimes. We've signed contracts with international companies, and the state was assigned a very basic role. That is, give me a license, let me pay taxes and royalties, use your revenues to do what you want. So basically, you are a watchman. Well, the conversation now is that enough? So it is no longer the case that the state can just sit there, especially for resources that it owns, to just be a watchman and watch the resource extracted and go by. You need more intervention.
In Ethiopia, the mineral and gas sector, it's mainly being done by private entrepreneurs. However, the government is acting as a regulator. At any time, definitely, when there is any market failure, then the government intervenes.
The top two, I think, is first the conception and planning for local content in most countries. We find that it's important that ab initio countries try to have very good understanding of their mineral sector, whether it be oil and gas or solid minerals that they're dealing with. The characteristics of those resources would determine the kind of local content framework that they put in place. The second issue that we also looked at is to do with the definition of local content. Is local content seen in the sense of local as being local within the environment in which the resources are located? Is it national? Is it regional in terms of a specific sub-regional group, or continental? So all of these elements were considered, and we came to the conclusion that essentially what countries need to look at is there is no one single definition that you can take and say this is the silver bullet.
So you need to master both, but I think most of African countries, the initial effort should be an upstream value addition. You build small, medium enterprises that can add value in terms of local manufacturing that then service the industry, and then eventually you can emphasize the downstream value addition. So that's the insight that we really would like to recommend to many African countries.
And one of the biggest issues that we have in Africa, it's skills. We have people, we've got a number of surplus countries like South Africa. We've got surplus in terms of people with explicit knowledge. And by that we mean people who've got degrees, people who qualified from universities. However, they are not yet ready for the industry, because in the industry what is required, it is what is called the tacit knowledge. The other issue in terms of job creation and human development is not the mining industry globally is moving into what we call automation. That is why what one of the recommendations was, all the institutions needs to prepare the current students in terms of the new technology.
There's a problem that is highlighted by the industry, that while we have got graduates, they lack the necessary skills. Right. So there is a need for companies to bring the experienced guys from their countries. But then, what should we do then to have the skills transferred to our own people? We then have to establish quotas. What was proposed during our plenary sessions is that we need to give these people a work permit for about 5 years, probably a once-off. That's a good period for somebody to be able to transfer skills adequately.
On the issue of equity participation, I still maintain that we still need to emphasize the issue of being broad-based, where in rural communities, women, youth, and the unemployed, historically disadvantaged are involved. That before you prioritize equity participation, empower me with the necessary entrepreneurial skills, financial management skills as a woman or as youth or as for communities. Give them the necessary skills to participate meaningfully, because the view is you cannot own that which you don't understand. You cannot manage responsibly that which you don't understand and that which you don't attach any value to.
We've had a very useful event. ASET's objective here is to ensure that the outcome of this event and the results just do not sit on the shelf. So we have, with partnerships with other, development partners, we have come up with what we call the Pan-African Coalition for Transformation. And the results of this event is going to feed into the chapter that is focusing on extractives. And what we're trying to do is to dig deep further into what are the actionable items that can help the countries either reform their policies, their institutions, their laws, that would make local content value addition more fruitful and would serve as a driver of transformation.